What's going on, guys? Welcome to Game of the Month for April, the show where we pick a game at random, play it throughout the month, and talk about it. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And this month we played a game called Persona 5. Hopefully you guys had a chance to play it, but with us moving into a new month, let's pick the next game of the month before we get into it.
We are playing Portal Knights.
Well, fuck. We literally just added that to the list, so we'll be playing Portal Knights throughout May. Thank you. So hopefully you guys will have a chance to play that as well. Or if you've played already, join us at the end of the month for May and talk about Portal Knights with us. Also, real quick reminder that we're also moving into a new month. So Plus Club, we will be playing Beyond Two Souls and Rayman Legends. And if you missed Plus Club that came out Thursday, we played Trackmania Turbo and Mad Max. Make sure to go back and watch that episode. I want to thank everybody who joined in the conversation on Reddit. Very much appreciated. We got some subscribers from that, so welcome to the channel. We do that every month, so if you enjoyed that, look forward to May as well. And of course, everybody who already watched the show, thanks for watching, and we love you. So yeah, we're here to talk about Persona 5. Persona 5 was actually Chevy's pick. We have a new system where our names are in the list, and we get to pick a game. So Chevy picks Persona 5. If you don't know what Persona 5 is, it's a JRPG, very classical in the way it plays. Kind of a little bit of a social game and an RPG, hardcore RPG. I'm going to add to that because we'll get into that in a little bit. And yeah, you play as like a kid who wrongfully gets in trouble, so it seems, and has to go to a new school. And through that, dives into some crazy mental stuff where you go into people's brains and do things to
Their cognitive reality.
change their hearts. I think there's a lot going on in this fucking game.
I mean, you pretty much got it. It is a JRPG slash a borderline. You can call it almost a dating sim style gameplay. When you're a student, you go to school, you take tests, actually, and hang out with people. You build relationships. You go shopping. I mean, you literally live in it. And then when you go to dungeons, you change in appearance and you do the JRPG thing. So
That's okay. So anybody who's been following the channel for a while, we'll randomly bring this game up, talking about games we've been playing on Tastecast, blah, 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 blah. Anytime I bring it up, I talk about the tutorial because I played the game when it came out. Tried to get through the tutorial. Went about 5-6 hours into it. Was still doing it. Chevy ended up playing it. You got past that. You're fucking far into this game.
like 80 hours in.
Yeah. And then coming back to this month, I had a chance to, in my opinion, finally get past the tutorial. And I'm actually really happy that I did because the game does open up after that. So if you're struggling with that as well, keep going. But yeah, just that time. In that time, like you really. I started to notice that this is almost 2 fucking games.
Almost.
It's if you took away the RPG aspect, you'd still have a competent, like living friendship, relationship sim type game. And if you took that part away, you have a really competent RPG. It's really weird, but the reason I'm even talking about it and talking about the time sink is like you almost need that amount of time to teach you both these games. I mean, every fucking 15 minutes, the game's teaching me about a new feature. When I first started playing the game,
It doesn't stop.
it at first like, well, it's a really simple game. Like, okay, I get it. You know, you go into combat, you go through your list, you attack or whatever, and later it's like you can hold people up. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. That's a weird little gimmick, or whatever. And like, oh, they can take hostages. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but I guess. And then like other things keep popping. I'm like, they're just going to keep rolling shit out. This game is actually really complicated. It's very deceitful in its early simplicity. It's literally easing you into the game. I got a lot. There's so much to say about this game. So let's just talk about our impressions. And then we'll jump into probably parts of it because there's so much to this fucking game.
So, obviously, you're going to try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible.
Yeah, transparency, you said you're 80 hours into the game, so you're really fucking far into it.
So I'm going to try really hard not to say anything.
And
if you are worried about that, there is a chance I could slip. So just be aware of that.
And I'm probably going to talk a little bit about where I'm at in the game, but I literally just got past the first dungeon, Kamoshida, and got to the end result of that story arc. I'm moving into the next month, so if you know where I'm at, that's as far as I am. It says I'm 14 hours into the game, but I think there were some times where I wasn't.
You were idle.
I was not at my controller.
I think out of my 80, I think I'm about 70 to 75 of actual playtime. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So anyway, impressions.
So I mean, my general impression of the game is it is a beautiful game. The art style is very good. It is literally an anime, and in the best way possible. Even the UI stuff is so like stylized, and I was worried when you see stuff like that. Sometimes people do style over substance. The substance is there too. They spent a lot of time making sure you were getting a full experience visually and gameplay wise, which I really appreciate. The characters are interesting, though it takes time to get to know them. So you may, at least for me, I felt like at first, like there's certain characters I just wasn't like vibing with at all. And as you actually build relationships with them, I was like, oh wow, okay, no, these characters are a lot deeper than they ever really seem like.
Well, it's interesting too, because like I was saying, like you guys probably, if you follow the channel regularly, you know that we typically release one of these two shows back to back. I took an extra day because I really wanted to beat that arc, because I felt like it was very important that I finish out a story arc in the game so I can talk about it better. And I'm very happy I did, because that extra day I took completely changed my opinion of the game. It already was pretty good, but I was able to understand a lot of things better. And I noticed a lot of things you've talked about are starting to show up in what I've seen. And when you're talking about right now with like characters growing, they all are very archetypical anime type characters, but they were very simplistic archetypical anime type characters when I first saw them. And now there's a lot of sequences in the game where you can actually go and hang out with people. And through those parts, the characters' backgrounds are starting to make more sense to who they are now. And it's opening up, just like in real life, when you first meet somebody, you look at them and you hear them say a sentence and you instantly make an opinion.
Put them in a box.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do it fucking all the time. In fact, I look at most people and I'm like, you're a piece of shit, prove me wrong. But
the game does that.
Yeah. And it actually started like I went from going like, oh god, he's talking again, to like, okay, this is getting interesting. So it starts like it's almost like real life. Like in that sense, they did a really good job in you're going to be playing this game for a long fucking time. I'm going to say right now, you're living in this fucking game. If you don't got much time to play this game, don't touch it. Yeah, you got to really invest time to really enjoy it. But with that, they have so much time now to really let you sink your teeth into like the world and the characters. I mean, this game reminds me of a fucking book.
Kinda.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
one all I was gonna say is I think there's a website called How Long Does It Take to Beat or something like that, and they said the average I think for most people is 120 hours. So yeah, it's a big game. That being said, just impressions wise as well, it has like. I think we've already brought up, it's a traditional RPG in its combat system, though I do want to bring up there's a lot of tweaks to it to make it new as well, which I really, really appreciate, because I love turn-based, but I also understand that you can't do it forever. Like you get burnt out. That's what happened with JRPGs. People got burnt out of them. They stopped playing them. And in this case, they took that system and they added extras to it.
Like dynamic things that can happen.
Like the holdups or like tagging people in, or like you get a status effect and someone comes in, slaps you in the face to snap you out of it type of thing. I mean, there's all these things that can constantly be happening, and it's really cool. Even
the way you initiate combats when you're in the dungeons, that's where you're getting like the RPG like combat. And there's a stealth system that's very basic, but it doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, I like how simplistic it is, because when I'm playing an RPG, I'm not really trying to play Splinter Cell. So like,
and they don't make it feel that way, which is good.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, if an enemy, I'm like running up behind them to like attack them, and they go to turn around, you can just hit X most of the time. You'll get behind cover pretty quickly. But then you can also pounce on them, and there's a very fucking big difference between if you attack them first and they attack you from behind. So much so that this is actually something that I had a problem with the game, but it wasn't to the point where like it ruined the experience for me, but it was very fucking frustrating. This game's very unforgiving. If you attack somebody first, it will change who you fight. You attack like a character walking, and you fight monsters once you get into the combat, and you'll fight like 2 dudes if you attack them first. If they attack you first, you might get like 4 fucking I forgot what they call them, like prostitutes or something like that, but they look like succubuses.
They are succubuses.
They literally call them prostitutes though, so that was really funny. So plus there's dick monsters.
Yes.
Which was ridiculous.
When you're ridiculous fighting them, they have a name that themes in their dungeon, but the demon they are, that is a succubus. Yeah. So if you were to get that persona into your mask as one of yours, it would be a succubus.
It's really funny too, off topic slightly, but like the Shin Megami Tensei MMO we played, I recognize some of these monsters from that.
They're all in it.
I know, it's fucking weird. Because I played that a long time ago, and I'm like, I know these monsters.
The roster of all the ones except for the main ones for each character are continuations from the entire series.
That's interesting.
Tensei, Persona, whatever.
Even that store we're at today, I saw the snowman dude. I'm like, I just got this Persona or this fucking thing. But the point I was making is, it makes a huge fucking difference. If they attack you first, you'll get surrounded by like 4 chicks who will take you over, and then you will attack your own teammates and heal them. And when there's 4 of them and 4 of you, and they successfully get all 4 of you, you're fucked. And this happened to me. In the game, there's checkpoints, and that's how you save. So, like, I saved, was progressing. I grabbed a key that's in a corridor. This dude had it. I killed him. As soon as I killed him and I got out of combat, instantly, as soon as I got out of combat, an enemy ran up behind me, hit me from behind. That happened. They all got me. All my characters are hitting each other and healing the enemy the whole fucking time. Every time one got out, I'd hit the person, somebody else would cast it. They'd go back into it. It's very frustrating to watch. I die, I'd start all the way back to my save point again, go to that corridor again, and as soon as I get out of combat and I try and run, boom, right in the back again. So that time I had to like lure him out of that corridor before I attacked him. But it was fucking frustrating. So like the combat is it has all those dynamic nuances, which I think is really cool, but also it's a game you can't just like, it's not like you're on a world map, you're just running, go, and then you go into a fight. Like you got to really think about how you're moving through the dungeon. You can't just like,
and when to leave.
I'm in a fight. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The game also has that day by day system that is also tactical. There's a lot of like preemptive thinking, but you're still doing an impression. I'm just trying to dive in because there's so many things about this game that every time you remind me of one, I got to bring it up. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget.
That's fine. It's part of the impression part, anyways. I'm just gonna talk about the things and if I like them or not, and if you have something to go off, go for it.
I will definitely.
So you brought up the calendar system. That's something I haven't really experienced in too many games, and usually when games have time limits, I get kind of annoyed. A good example, and you guys are probably gonna kill me for this, but Majora's Mask, it drove me fucking crazy. The whole 3 days to get through the whole thing. It drove
most people crazy.
So
even Zelda purists who love it.
In this game, usually an event will happen that leads to you going to the dungeon, and you usually have 2 weeks to clear that dungeon.
Yeah, so simply like every day you start out, you wake up. If it's during the week, you go to school. You typically answer a question that's a real question, has real answers. If you answer correctly, you get experience, I believe. The questions are actually like real questions, which I thought was funny. It's like, what did Emperor Nero add to the Olympics so he could participate? I actually knew that one, so I was like, oh, singing. And then you get rewarded. And then after that, you can choose to go hang out with your friends, which builds your experience with them. You can go get a day job to make money. You can go do activities. You can go buy stuff that you're going to need for the dungeons. But then when you want to, you can decide to go to the dungeon and progress the storyline, essentially. And then in my experience, the dungeon had a certain amount of time before I'm assuming a game over event would happen where you get expelled and you probably have to start over again. So there is this micromanagement system to the day-by-day system.
If you have enough resources, you can go through the entire dungeon in one day. So it's not time limit.
I went to the dungeon 3 separate times. The first time when I first played the game and then stopped playing it. And then the second time around, I went through most of the dungeon in one run.
Yeah.
And finally, I was just completely out of everything. Yep. I was like, okay.
So, and that's the way, honestly, I recommend doing it. If you're going to go to the dungeon, spend as much time as you can.
Yeah, don't hop in.
Because you're going to spend a lot of time doing the social stuff. And at first, you're going to wonder why. But as you start doing it and your confidants ends up being... start unlocking more stuff for you to do when you're in combat, you're going to want to spend as much time as you can building your relationships outside of the dungeon. It's really a neat system. I love how what happens in the real world affects what happens in the cognitive reality of the game. I think they had a really good balance too of making you feel pressured for time, but not so much that you're like pulling your hair out. You feel like there's an urgency, like I have to get this done, but I don't feel like I'm in a rush either to do it, which is really good.
Well, just diving into the game, I did feel rushed, and then I'd be reminded I had 9 days left, and I was like, oh. And then like I'd like go day by day and do like one activity, and it's like, oh, it's nighttime. And then like I'd go out and do something again. It's like, oh, it's nighttime. I'm like, fuck, 2 days went by already. Yeah. Just like real life. I'm like, holy shit, this is a blur.
It's funny because like I'm at the point in the game now where like I'm like trying to like get everyone like topped off in their relationships so I can get those last features. And I'll get down to the point where there's like 5 days left to get to the dungeon, and I've only been in there in the introductory part of it at this point. And Morgana's like, "You only got 5 days left. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna go in there, and in 1 or 2 days, I'm gonna clear the whole fucking thing." So
I was just like, I don't remember any of their names, which is really bad, I guess. But the blonde chick.
Oh shit! I know her as Panther.
yeah. That's how I know them. Joker, Panther, Skull, or whatever the fuck his name is, and Morgana. But yeah, Panther. I had like fucking 9 or 8 days left, and I met up on the rooftop, and they're like, "Oh, you ready to go?" And I was like, I'm gonna go do some stuff. And she's like, "But you guys are gonna get expelled. I'm worried about you." I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. The game's just like constant, like, we're gonna die.
It really emphasizes that a lot, especially the more people you know, and your phone just starts blowing up every time you wake up. And those people are like, "Let's hang out," and then you'll get to go on the subway to go somewhere, and someone will walk up and be like, "Hey, we should go to dungeon today." And you're like, "No, I'm good." Like, "Okay, if you think so," like type of thing. So, I don't know. There's a lot of game here, and I think
a lot of game
at even at $60, which you're gonna get this game in like $30-$40 most places now. But even at $60, you're getting your money's worth as long as you play the game.
If you're into this kind of game and you know what you're getting into, and I mean, if this is your kind of game, you're gonna be in fucking heaven. There's so much here, man.
And the one thing I do appreciate about it as well, because not many games can do this for me, is when I do turn on and start playing it, I have a hard time shutting it off. I just want to keep going.
That finally clicked on the last night I was playing it,
and it's because there's so much to do.
Yeah. So the first couple of nights, like all the tutorial shit, I'm just like, I wasn't even like, yeah, this is fun. I was like, okay, here we go. Fucking tell me about fucking how to hit things. Cool.
Which will bring me to actually a negative I do want to give to the game. It does.
I got a couple negatives.
It does drag in parts of the game a lot. They over-explain, and it takes a lot of time because they're long-winded about everything.
I think a big thing that I feel like I'm noticing here, and I might not know what I'm talking about. I might be ignorant. I don't know, but as a person who my whole life has watched a lot of anime, played a lot of video games, been generally into a lot of Japanese stuff, like most people, I feel like this game was not in any way westernized, which is fine. It doesn't need to be. But like, I feel like even translation-wise, things seem kind of... A lot of things get reiterated a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of exposition, which is very typical in anime, of going like... Oh, is that Captain blah blah blah? He's the one back 3 years ago who fought all these guys on the bridge. He wouldn't he wouldn't back down to save the king. Blah blah blah. Oh, which king? King blah blah blah. Back and then he did all this shit.
Yeah,
and it's just like okay, thanks. And they do that a lot in this game. Yes. Like constantly in the beginning of the game, they're like, "Isn't that the new kid? He apparently did some bad shit." And then you walk up to the person
I'm at now. When I answer a question right in class, all the kids are like, maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. I'm like, motherfucker, I've been in school for
still saying that shit. But to its credit though, as well, like when you first meet the old guy at the bar where the fuck it is that you're
Sojiro.
He's just a complete dick constantly. And like I already know like what happened at the beginning of the game. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I get it. Everybody thinks you're bad, but like people are really treating you like you're fucking a piece of shit. And
Sojiro is awesome.
And I've gotten into the game now where like he's like, hey, you want to help me make coffee? And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, I see what they're doing here. They're making you earn it. All of a sudden,
with
you're
everybody.
gonna have a cool relationship, and that's where the game's getting interesting. That's why I really am telling you guys, if you're playing this game early on or you're thinking about it, get past the beginning, because the game really starts around the end of the first dungeon. The rest of it, I mean, that's just all tutorial. But yeah, since we're on the topic, that is something that really, I think it's the hardest part for me in that game. The hardest thing is, and me and you talked about a little bit, but like, because you have so many characters that typically are talking, like a lot of games, you walk up to a character, you talk to them. They're like, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, can you go do this? Like, yeah, I'll go do that. And then you go do it. And this, you're typically hanging out with like 3 people, 4 people. And to keep the game interesting, they all have to say something. You don't want to just have like 2 characters talking while the rest of them just in the background, like, hanging out. So they all got to get their say in, but a lot of times they're kind of reiterating the same thing. And when you go into the next day, they're talking about the same stuff with slight differences. And the next day they talk about a lot of the same stuff. And like a lot of times I was kind of fucking skipping through some of the dialogues. Like, okay,
it does get a little better, but they still for a large part of the game, it can be pretty long-winded. But so I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I definitely see it as a downfall, because it is going to be keeping people from playing the game.
Well, I would say I am the fucking line. I'm okay with it. Yeah. But people who are like me or like not into that at all are not going to want to play it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying this as a negative. I'm saying it as an observation. So anyone who played this game and fucking loves it, I'm not talking shit about it. I actually really like this game. You'll see when I grade it. But it is the biggest hurdle, and it's something I notice, because I'm pretty lenient when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm like playing, and I'm like, wow, they really are saying a lot. And then like it's the repetitive stuff that starts getting to me on day like 16 or whatever, and they're still talking about something they talked about like a week ago, again in great detail. I'm like, this doesn't need to happen, man. But I think that's a cultural thing. I feel like in like Japanese games, that's more. Their games are less streamlined in that convenience sense of our games, where like in our games, the game starts out and you're a fucking soldier, and it's like, all right, welcome soldier, you want to look up for me? And you look up and tutorials started. It's like, look down. It's like, okay, you like those controls? Yeah. And then like you're in the middle of combat and you go to punch someone. It's like, okay, you can do this now. And then fucking you do it. Like, you know, in this game, it's trying to be more like, it's like you're in an anime. It's like you're in a fucking world. So it's trying to embrace that whole like connections between characters and events and stuff. So it feels more organic. They feel like alive characters, in my opinion.
No, and that's one thing
it's
I
just
actually
a lot.
Love about the game is anyone who actually like is someone you talk to in the game. They're a person, and
and they have a lot to say.
And they have a lot to say. Even side characters that you see for like a really small story arc, it could even be like. I'm going to give an example. I'm going to be as vague as possible because I don't want to ruin it for you. But as I was doing one of the characters' relationships, they had me go with them to confront a friend who was getting into something they shouldn't be getting into. And the person that their friend was involved with was even a character. And I never saw that person again, but they were a character the whole time. So I think that was pretty vague. I think that'll work.
Yeah.
But it's great. The other thing, too, that you can do, which I don't know what it does. I think it's just get an achievement. But any of the female characters, whether they're in your party or even just people, like a good example is the doctor, is someone that's not in your party. You can eventually get into a relationship with them. So as long as you say the right things. I actually screwed up with the doctor because that was the one I was trying to get in a relationship with, and when the text came up for that moment, I picked the "we should be friends" option on accident, and so I had to rush another character through to get that achievement.
That's interesting. Yeah. Any more impressions?
No, I mean I can talk about the game for a while. I've got 8 hours into it.
I was about to say we could talk about it all day. Yeah, I'll just go into my impressions of it because I pretty much said a lot of stuff already. But a couple things I want to add to that is I really, really like the art style a lot. You already kind of went into it, but I really like that the art style. I wouldn't even say is cartoony. It's anime, man. It looks like you're in a fucking anime. It's clean, really neat.
Super clean.
I've always really liked the Persona art style. This looks really great. I also watched the first episode of the anime on Crunchyroll, and it's funny because it's literally the exact same story, but the art style in that's great too. This game has some cutscenes that are anime. It's fucking really neat looking. The fucking style of the UI and the menus is so creative and stylistic.
Very unique.
It brings me back to PlayStation and Dreamcast. This game reminds me of an older RPG in almost every way, aside from the graphics and just some of the modernization of how they did certain things and the dynamic.
Just how realized it is.
Yeah, it feels like the continuation of those games that could not exist if we didn't have that slump where RPGs had to come back. I feel like this would have happened before, and it's here now. This game is also I'm a music guy, so the music I actually like it. Not something I necessarily listen to
Before the game,
but yeah, but and I don't even know if it necessarily fits the game and the theme, but it fits the fucking style. There's this whole groove to the game that the music really makes the game fucking pop. This game could kind of like drag on and be kind of like just like drone on and kind of maybe be darker and thematic, tone, but for the most part, the game always has some kind of music that keeps it alive. I never felt like I was like getting bored or going like, oh shit, stuff's getting serious. Even when it's serious, it's still kind of like flavorful. It's just like, I don't know. There's a style to it that I think really makes the game fucking unique. I can't think of a game outside of like Jet Set Radio that I brought that up before. They're not alike in any way other than they're both highly stylized, highly like groovy fucking games. And I love that. I think it's fucking great. I mean, Dreamcast is one of my favorite consoles of all time. So I just got like a good feeling when I play the game, which is kind of weird because the game has some pretty fucking mature shit. I'll move into that, I guess. This game is pretty mature. I mean, like some of the stuff they say is kind of adolescent. It's kind of dorky. Very typical stuff that you'd expect. Like
they're also teenagers.
Like,
though,
oh, you bastard! Yeah. I'm gonna. Oh man! Like, and there's like, and then they'd also like, haha, dumb kid, and like it's whatever. But like every once in a while, they'll talk about some really dark stuff, like teachers taking advantage of like students, suicide, a bunch of stuff. And I always, every once in a while, something will pop up, and I'm like. Because I'll be playing the game, I'm like, oh, it's fun, it's fun. Then every once in a while, I'm like, what is this rated? I look, it's M. I'm like, man, I mean, this game is rated M when it wants to be. I mean, they call certain monsters fucking prostitutes, which is something I'm not used to outside of like Grand Theft Auto. There's literally penises in the game. Kamoshida's fucking dungeon has a bunch of girls with their asses popped out all over the place, and he's got essentially a sex slave.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I mean, like the sexual undertones in the game are really fucking there. Like the whole time, I'm just like, this game can't exist anywhere other. Like these things can't exist anywhere other than Persona 5. I don't know where else would they would fit. Like you'd play another game and see some stuff and be like, this game's fucking weird. Yep. But Persona 5 is like so stylized and like I said, so funky and groovy. And you see this shit and it just kind of works. And you're not like, wow, this is weird. Why is there so many asses? You're just like, man, Kamoshida's a fucking freak. like it's weird. Right. There's that difference, and I dig that.
And it works because it is. You're inside of that dude's head, and that's how he perceives his area. So,
and the whole time they're just walking through, judging him, and you, as the player, are like, yeah, I'm with you guys. This guy fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, the characters I think all look great. I can't say enough about the way this game looks. I love the way it looks. Character. I think they all look really cool, really stylized. Even like the finishers, I think they're funny. Morgana, when she does the finisher, she like jumps in a chair with a cigar or whatever in the background. The guys
looking like a mobster almost. Yeah.
There's one too where it like gets low and its eyes go ting. I think it's when all four of them finish or whatever. I think it's pretty funny. There's a fight that you have to pick one of your members to do something while the rest of you fight.
That's the boss fight at the end of every dungeon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that was really neat. I've never seen that before. I don't play a lot of JRPGs. I've played plenty.
You have to buy them time.
Yeah, but they like are off doing something. There's this whole dynamic thing happening, and you're stuck with three people, so you got to kind of start strategizing. So there's like this challenge aspect to it, but also like a payoff because you want to know what the fuck's going to happen. It's really, really cool. Also, Kamoshida's final form is fucking ridiculous. That thing was disgusting.
They're all ridiculous.
Yeah, I loved it though. I was like, man, this game's so full of just like creativity. It's just like just a bunch of like. I don't know, fucking anime or even comic book dudes are just like fucking just having a blast making all these crazy concepts. like I said, I'm gonna bring it up again, but I'm just not used to it. Fucking penis monsters, man. Yep. There's like this weird goo monster had a dick head. And I was
the
only
like, one in the game, but yeah.
And I was just like, what the fuck is this game? I loved it. It was dope. But yeah, so stylistically, music, all that stuff's great. And then I also appreciate I've as people who've been watching for a while know, I've been playing a lot of Ni no Kuni. Had to take a break because God of War and playing this, I don't have time for it. But Ni no Kuni has softened me up. Ni no Kuni is a really modern RPG with a lot of old school RPG in it, but it's gotten to the point where it's like it's not a hard game in any way, but it's very fun. It's got a lot of cool systems. It's more of like just a delightful game that you play and you're building your kingdom. And it's just great. And like I was like, oh yeah, I like RPGs. I haven't played these in a while, JRPGs. And I played this and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I fucking died. I was like, what? And then like I reload and I'm like, fuck. And I start going through again and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And then my character's fucking like, hey, watch out, Joker. And then like I die and I'm like, this game's actually not easy. You got to pay attention. Like you got to worry about your potions, worry about your SP. You got to make sure you're not getting attacked from behind. When you're in combat, you should be passing the baton if they have a weakness and someone else has a thing that can do something to them and you're low on SP or you
want to knock them down.
You want to knock them down. Yeah. That's something also like you got to be tactical, which I love tactical anything. So like a lot of the flying creatures in the first dungeon, if you shoot them, they normally pass out.
Yep.
So I was using that to my advantage. Once I got that down, like the dungeon became easier, which in a weird way it felt accomplishing. I was like, okay, now I'm on to something that's making this easier. I got to this point. It feels good. And I really appreciate that because in the last month, I've gotten a full spectrum of what RPGs can essentially be shown to me again, reminded that they can be fucking difficult. Because for a while there, I was thinking about like JRPGs and I was like, dude, RPGs aren't hard. They're just progress. You just walk forward, you read the story, you experience the cutscenes, and then you make decisions during combat. And that was dumb of me because I'm playing this and I'm like, if you're not paying attention, you're going to fucking die.
Yep.
Ni no Kuni is not like that. Ni no Kuni, you just hit buttons, you have fun, everyone's holding hands and sing Kumbaya. This game, it's like penis monster shows up and fucking murders you, and now you got to start back to the last time you saved, and you can't save anywhere. You got to go to a safe room to do that. And then you got to manage your time and all this shit, and everyone's fucking calling you up, and fucking you're trying to have a job and fucking get creepy teachers fired and all this shit. So yeah, it's nice because it's.
And you don't even have mementos yet.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's a side dungeon that you can go to anytime.
And then yeah, more impressions. I'll have to get to that. I love at first I hated it because I didn't know where the fuck I was going. It's like, go to the subway, go to school. I'm like, I've never been here before. And it's like, just go to the
I'm
whatever.
glad that didn't continue.
Me too.
Yeah.
Dude, when fast travel opened up, like after a while, whenever you visit a place, it unlocks that place in fast travel. I appreciate you have to go there once, but after that, I was like, this is a fucking game changer, dude, in this game. Although I started memorizing the area. It's not even that big, but it's daunting because they do a great job at having like these like just blank canvas people walking around.
Yeah, makes it feel
makes it feel like you're actually walking in a city. It's so simple, but it fucking works. I like it a lot. But walking around the city and exploring like little shops and shit and like talking to random people is dope. It reminds me of like Shenmue. It reminds me of like a lot of those Japanese games, Yakuza, stuff like that, where like there is a living factor of this world. It's not just like, all right, we got to go kill the boss. On to the next objective. Kill all these dudes in this building.
For the sake of fun.
Yeah, like you're really investing yourself in these characters, in this world, in everything. And I can't do this all the time with games, but I really appreciate it when people do this in games. I mean, it's something you don't really get in Western games at all. Most Western games are movies, essentially, with great gameplay. But a lot of Japanese games, they really embrace that, like, live in, you're here, fucking see how the world is. There's these are the people. This is how they are. These are the problems they face. These are the things they do. And I really dig that. Even like Way of the Samurai back in the day was like that.
Oh yeah.
It was a 3-day cycle, but you just kind of fucking, you did what you wanted to, and your story played out based off your actions. And I love that shit. So that really this game really brings me back to a lot of things in a modern way. The combat's good. I like the combat. I kind of talked about it a little bit, but I think it's set up. It's not too hard, but there's enough Not too hard. That's not what I meant. It's not too complicated, but it's not too simple. It's perfect balance, and there might be more things that unlock. It's not gonna hold your hand. You got to really manage your stuff, and
if you want features, you have to get them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna have a real basic combat system the whole game, and you don't want that. So
yeah, I love the Persona aspect of the game. It's like Pokemon. You can even merge the two, which kind of reminds me of like Monster Rancher or something.
Dark way, but yeah.
Yeah.
That also expands into different things.
Does it?
Oh yeah.
I started getting into that towards the end. This is why I'm saying that last day, I'm so glad I did it, because otherwise I'd be going into this blind. I'd just be like, yeah, I did the dungeon, whatever. But yeah, after I got into actually starting to like mix them up and getting that bonus XP and like seeing what I was unlocking and seeing some of the designs and stuff like that of the different monsters or personas and what you get when you get the new one, plus carrying over one, like one of the moves or whatever. Really fucking cool system. That alone, I was like, I want to kind of collect all these motherfuckers.
There's an achievement for that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is New Game Plus as well, though.
This game's fucking Pokemon, too. This game's a lot of games, dude. It's crazy.
It's a lot in one package. It's crazy.
I was using, for a while there, I forgot who it was, but they essentially just had a fire move, and this is when I first got back into it from the last time I played, so I kind of forgot how the game played. So I was just like, oh yeah, this is a move, whatever. And then finally I caught another one. I was like, oh, I'm going to switch it up and see what it's like. And I was using the succubus chick, and she had that move that takes over the enemy, and that shit
So status effects
was a game changer, because
crazy in this game.
Because the enemy would just stop fighting me and start hitting his enemies or his fucking allies,
or throw money at you,
and then throw money at me or throw health at me.
Yeah,
and I got their whole team fucking hypnotized at one point. I like also that it's like it looks like bars on a phone when they're taking over. It's the style. It's great. Yeah, it was just them hitting each other, slap each other around, and fucking healing me. I was like, this is fantastic. I was like, this is better
than
how
they felt when they did to you.
No, I literally thought of that, though. Like, I was fucking playing. I was like, this is what it's like? No wonder they fucking did that. I'm over here like, this fucking sucks. Like, I hate this game. And then I did it. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
They're probably just sitting back like, haha, this is fucking awesome.
And it's funny, the status effects is such a funny thing in the game, because like one of the status effects is hunger. And your character just won't do as much damage because they're hungry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I didn't see that.
Oh, I don't think you have a lot of them yet in the game, but there's forgetfulness as well, where they'll sit there and they'll go to cast a spell and they're like, I don't remember how, and they skip their turn.
Oh, so it's like blind.
Kinda. It's more like paralysis.
Oh, gotcha.
This would be a better way to put it. But it'll be like, blah, boss forgot how to do things, and then they just stop moving. And their turn's over.
See, I like that because it adds to its own world. I mean, it's Persona, and Persona world, that's what that is. Like, that's cool. I dig that. Yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, this, aside from, and they are not necessarily actual problems of the game. They're just things that are hurdles for certain types of people, in my opinion. I think overall the game's great. There's things I struggled with on it, but the payoff has been really good. But I know other people will definitely have the same problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I can't really think of anything else I'd really want to add to my impressions. I mean, this is like 40 minutes in, we're still talking about impressions, but it's just it's a really cool game. I hope a lot of people played it. I don't even know if it was successful or not.
I guarantee.
I know I heard a lot of people say good things about it, but like not the same much or not as much as like, I don't know, fucking like when Nier came out, that was being talked about a shitload.
I'm pretty sure it. When like the awards were happening, stuff and Best RPG kept getting announced, people were literally...
What won that one? I forgot. Skyrim?
Probably.
But Zelda.
Everyone was like screaming, it needs to be Nier, it needs to be Persona, and those like two games were like, please pick these ones, you know, like, and I kind of agree. Actually, if I didn't thematically enjoy Nier...
Oh, Nier's fucking amazing.
Both character, world, music, the storyline, especially after beating it a couple times. I honestly think Persona might have got Game of the Year for me that time.
Okay, so first off, I like Nier better as a game. I think Persona 5 should have won it. I barely look at Nier as an RPG.
It's barely an RPG.
That's like looking at fucking Call of Duty as an RPG.
It's an action game. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I like Nier more.
Yeah.
But Persona 5 is a fucking RPG.
It is.
I mean, that's as RPG as you get, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think
JRPG, but yes.
Yeah, but it should have. That thing should have fucking won. That thing.
I mean, I know it won some, but like I think in the major ones, I don't think it did. So
yeah.
The other one people screamed about was Divinity, which I haven't touched yet. So
2 or Divinity?
Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah, I haven't played that one yet. I played the first one a little bit. I really liked it. It just fucking.
The second one's supposed to be fucking amazing. So
I think they added more classes or more races or something.
I don't know.
I need to play that. I don't give a fuck. I need multiple versions of me that share
consciousness,
so I can experience it all.
So we want to recommend this then?
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add to it though? Like any?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, the easiest way to say is like, I think the amount of positiveness in this game completely overshadows any negative things, to the point where I have a hard time thinking negative things until they come up and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like that.
Well, if the game wasn't as good as it is, the problems that I had with it would kill any other game for me.
And that's my point.
If a game was subpar, I would stop playing it.
It is a very well-made game that has some issues, but they just don't matter.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange to say. I would love to see them improved, obviously, but it obviously didn't affect the game for me. So.
Well, yeah, and it didn't stop me from playing it. Mm-hmm. Like I just kind of slogged through some of the parts that I thought were kind of slow, but yeah, it is one of those examples where certain faults, they're not big enough to outweigh the positive of the game.
Yeah,
which is great, and I always love that, because I mean games like fucking like EDF, they're not well made games.
That's a fucking awfully made game.
Awfully made game with vehicles that don't even fucking work sometimes.
That is a blast.
But it's so much fun, and it offers you something you can't get anywhere else. And it offers you exactly what the fuck you want out of that game. And Persona 5, I'm not comparing to at all. Persona 5 is a much better made game. Much better. They deserve so much credit. But I'm just saying, it's one of those examples of like, it's so good it doesn't matter if it'd have to have a fucking huge like delete my save on accident problem for me to really
have a meltdown.
Yeah, I've been playing the game for 14 hours in the fucking tutorial, and I had to have a meltdown because I'm like, you know how much work I put into that fucking tutorial?
Who'd you recommend it to?
I have to be careful with this because there's a lot of people I wouldn't recommend it to, but there's a lot of people I want to recommend it to. First off, if you're into JRPGs, it's a must fucking play. You're not a real JRPG player if you're not playing this, or you're not trying or wanting to play this game. If you like the Persona series in any way, you should definitely play it. It's fucking right up your alley. If you're an anime fan, I think you should play this game. Even if you're not really into like RPGs or whatever, if you want to live in a fucking anime, this game is your game. Mm-hmm. Also, if you're a comic book fan, I think you should play this. It reminds me of a comic a lot. I mean, I feel like I'm turning pages and reading a lot in the game, and in a good way. It's not bad, but like if you're a dude who can sit there and read through like Watchmen, you're not gonna have my problem with the reading in this game. You're just gonna be reading the dialogue and sinking into it. And I think it's a good thing. If you like Japanese games where you kind of like run around, do tasks in towns and kind of live in them, I think this also is a must play. If you like dating sims or any kind of like relationship type sim game, I think it's a must play. Just realize that you are going to have to fight things in this game, and you need to know what you're doing. So just be prepared for that. Yeah, if you can't handle like traditional RPGs, I would not recommend this game to you, because it is absolutely, in that sense, if you want to progress through the game, a traditional RPG with some nuance to it. But I mean, you're not going to get past that part, and it's not going to hold your hand. If you like Pokemon, I would play this game. Any game where you collect monsters, I think, kind of always fall into that category.
Yeah. Loosely, but yes.
Yeah. And if you're one of those people who like kind of likes like edgy games, like Suda54, what the fuck his name is, 51. If you like his stuff, if you like those really like avant-garde, weird, wacky games that like certain niche people are into and other people don't get, definitely fucking play this game, because it is also highly stylized and just really
games
fucking
are like
cool.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of something that wasn't them that's like that, because there are other people who make like those games that like other people are like, why does that guy fucking look like that and do that weird
like
shit?
Platinum games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you play a lot of Japanese games, you're gonna be right at home. You're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, like, why does he even explain that? There's people out there who only play Madden. There's people out there who only play shooters. So talking to them, pretty much. Mike, yeah, he has no fucking idea what Persona 5 is. Yeah, I mean, I covered a lot, but like I said, there are a lot of people I don't even think I'd mention this game to. Honestly, if they're like, "Is that game good?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's good," but I don't think you'd be into it. But you want me to tell you about it? Sure.
Which obviously, on a personal note, is a bummer for me. But at the same time, I completely get it. This game isn't like trying to be or attract people that aren't already going to be interested in it. So, to follow off what you said, I completely agree with your recommendations. I was literally going to say you need to be into JRPGs, and if you're into anime, those are kind of like the two big ones. If those are not even remotely your cup of tea, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
So
I would not recommend it to people who want to stream games.
Yeah, they won't.
Because biggest complaint about the game is people who made it don't want you to show it to people. And it's very stupid of them. Yeah. Sure, they're great people. Sure, they're really nice. Sure, they make great games. I played one.
Terrible marketing decision.
But they are kind of like Nintendo and not in the know and don't resonate with their fans. They don't understand that people want to play their games and share them with people, and people who watch them play that might potentially buy the game.
Or merch.
Or merchandise. Yeah, they might go, "Wow, that looks really cool. Oh, there's an anime?" They're halting the community from talking about the game further than they could through streaming. So, which is a bummer. But yeah, if you're a person who's like, "Oh, that sounds cool. I'm going to go stream that." They'll try and stop you. They don't want you to do it. So, sure, people do it, but they don't want you to. So, they might come after you. Any other recommendations? I kind of did most of them.
Like I said, I think you nailed it. The two I just wanted to emphasize was that JRPGs, anime, that's your game.
If you're into Gran Turismo, play Gran Turismo. It's good. I love Gran Turismo. Maybe play Forza. That's blasphemy to some people, but I like both. Yeah, so I feel like that's pretty good. What would you grade it?
That's easy for me. It's a solid A.
Damn!
It is a very good game. It hits every itch that I need in the genre. I think, like I said before, any negative things just don't matter because the rest of it is that good. I feel that for any price point, within obviously game pricing, you are getting your money's worth. You get. I mean, I'm 80 hours into the game. I'm not done with it yet. It does have the ability to play it again because it has a new game. Plus, so you can go through and do different decisions and have different relationships with people instead the second time through. There's just a lot here to offer. And if you are the type of person who can't afford to buy games rapid fire the way like me and Seth do, it is worth it. You're getting something you're going to play for a long time. I can't recommend it enough to people that I think the game fits into the genre for. Solid A.
Man, okay, so my original grade before I took the extra day was a B. I thought B, and I'm saying B like B, but B's great. I mean, like I was like, oh, this is a really solid game. But I'm gonna go with A minus. And I haven't even gotten that far into it, but I see the potential there. I see the work, and I see why people love it. I do want to play it further, and I'm glad I took that extra day because, like I said, it made a really fucking big difference. There's key features of the game that I would have not even known existed, and even if you explained them to me, I'd just be like, oh, that's cool. But being there and doing it, A minus for sure. There's just so much fucking quality to this game. It's a huge game, and not like in like so many random missions to keep you busy way, but like meticulously made scenarios and planning and situations and like if this is your type of, like, this isn't even really my type of game and I enjoyed it a lot. If this is your type of game, this game's fucking like finding goddamn gold. I mean, this is the perfect game for people who are going to be in this kind of game, or looking for this kind of game. It would be very wish fulfilling to run into this game if you're looking for like one of those JRPG classic games that offer a lot, and I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, A minus. I think it's almost impossible to deny the quality of the game, even with the slogging down of like the dialogue. My biggest complaint, and I did think about maybe giving it a B plus over that, but talking about it, it really doesn't stop me from enjoying the game. It's just when that's happening, I'm like, okay, let's go. It's more like
I got shit to do.
It's like you got a buddy who's got like an annoying thing they do, but like you still love them. So yeah, A minus, easy. It's a really fucking good game.
I'm actually thrilled to hear that because I was a little worried.
So was I.
This game.
So was I. I was playing. I'm like, I like it, but I don't know. This tutorial.
If I could just get Chris to play it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think he'd like it.
And sometimes we nail it. Every once in a while we'll do game of the month or Not Plus Club. Every once in a while we do game of the month and the game goes on sale that month. And we're like, oh, whoa, that's fucking convenient. This month, I think it was like 2 days ago went on sale on
Golden Week started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like 25% off or 30
It's $30
or 40 or something like that. Yeah, $30.
But like right now, it's $30.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, it's $30 right now. Make sure to go pick that up if you haven't. If you hear what we're saying, you're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. It's definitely cool. Pick it up. A cool. But yeah, it was very inconvenient for the timing, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think across the board, like we both said, it's a very good, high quality game. I kind of want to watch the anime a little bit further, but I can't go too far because that'll ruin the game for me. But yeah, anything else you want to say on that?
No, we're getting towards an hour, so
yeah, it's a big game though. I knew this episode was gonna be long.
Sure.
I'm actually glad that we did this on like not a work day because
the energy would have been awful by the end of the episode.
You'd be like, oh, it's a fun game. It's a big.
I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed.
This is a big game. A big game, big fun game. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Persona 5? What would you grade it? Have you played it? Do you not want to play it? It's not really your type of game. Is it absolutely your type of game?
Are you interested now?
Are you interested in playing it now? Let us know. But that's going to do it for this episode of Game of the Month. Make sure to like, subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams on Twitch at Tasty Senpai. And yeah, my name's Seth.
And I'm Chevy. Don't forget the Discord.
Down description. We're there 24/7. So if you want to get a hold of us, you want to say hi to the rest of the community, post some random shit, just say whatever. We got a bunch of cool categories to talk about, whatever the hell you're into. And if you want me to add one, fucking just hit me up. Yeah. But yeah, you already said your name.
Yeah.
So also another real quick reminder too is we are playing what game next month?
Portal Knights.
So play that as well. Next month we'll be doing this all over again. Till next episode though, have a good weekend and take it easy.